What am I making, you may ask? I am getting ready to make some more egg rolls for the freezer. This batch of egg rolls is going to be shrimp egg rolls. What I did is I had 2 cans of the bean sprouts. I put them on the cutting board and I chopped them up, smaller bits. Then I took a bag of shrimp and I put that on the cutting board and chopped that up into smaller bits. And then I took a can of mushrooms and chopped them up into some smaller bits. Now I'm doing a couple of green onions. Now I'm not going to saute the green onions. I'm going to leave them whole because once you put the egg rolls in the fryer, they will cook inside the egg roll because green onions cook very fast anyways. But I also chopped up an onion, which I'm going to saute those. And when I saute the onions, I'm going to take, this is a three color coleslaw mix, which is purple, green, and carrots, and purple and green cabbage. And I'm going to saute that in a frying pan with the onions. And you're going to use some oyster sauce. And I'm going to use some soy sauce when I do that. That way it'll cook the cabbage down a little bit, which will also cook inside the egg rolls. But for now, I'm just separating the onions. I probably want to chop them onions up a little smaller. Just trying to get the onions chopped up here a little bit. And after I'm done sauteing them, I'm going to put the mushrooms, shrimp, and bean sprouts in with the sauteed vegetables, heat them up, and we're going to get it to cool down in the fridge for about an hour, and then we're going to put them in the wrappers. And once they're in the wrappers, I'm going to put them on a cookie sheet once they're wrapped, and I'm going to use the cans for the cold vegetables. Once I lost track of where I was at. Once I get everything put together and I get ready to wrap, and I put them in I'll put them in the freezer for an hour after they're wrapped, and then I will put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezers. And then we can have egg rolls all winter long. You do all the work in one day, that you can make several different meals and not have to worry about pulling all this stuff out just to make one meal, because it's a lot of work. Well, not a whole lot of work, but it's enough of a job to be a little time consuming. So what you want to do is you want to get everything made up ahead, and that way if you're out on the town or going shopping or whatever and you want to throw together a quick meal for you and the kids, then you just take and pull out a couple egg rolls, put them in a deep fryer, and have yourself a meal. Kind of losing track because I'm trying to stay busy doing what I'm supposed to do here. I'm going to make up enough of this. I bought two packages of the wrap egg roll wraps. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure this is small enough that they'll fit in the egg rolls without sticking out. So all I do is I just go across them this way, maybe twice, Bring it all to the center. And I turn my cutting board and I go back the other way. That makes them small enough where they'll fit in the egg rolls once they're cooked and not have to fight them to roll your egg rolls. Alright, now I'm going to have to get something to put my cabbage in, which will probably be the frying pan, and I'll go from there. Alright, what we're going to do is we're starting our saute. I put a little oil in the pan, and as this cooks down, the onions will cook, the cabbage will release some water, and I didn't want to put everything in together until I got the water out of here from the cabbage, so we don't have a wet mess. And then I will add the shrimp and mushrooms and bean sprouts to this, heat that up with my oyster sauce and my soy sauce. And then once it's cooked down, I will put it back in a bowl and put it in the fridge to cool down, so I can work with it later.
So right now, all you're doing is cooking the cabbage to get the juice out of it, right?
The water out of the cabbage, yes.
Okay. And there's a little bit of oil in the pan?
Just to keep it from sticking, yes.
Okay.
I just kind of, maybe a tablespoon of oil, just so it can start frying up a little bit.
Smells
good. It will, especially once you get the oyster sauce and the... Now, you don't have to use oyster sauce. I use it because it's a traditional Oriental flavoring for their foods. It's a little expensive, not bad, but like $2.50, $3 a bottle.
Okay, so you're going to cook this down and then we'll be back at the next step.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so he says, gotta get this open, hang on. So I turned the camera on too soon, but that's okay. He's opening up the oyster sauce. Like that.
They have the protective neck seals and they're a pain to get off.
But this smells really delicious.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that way down. I didn't want to cook all the cabbage and onions right down to where they're soggy. I want a little crunch to my thing, so I sauteed them until the onions were pretty much done. So now I'm going to add...
Did you drain the water out yet?
There's no water.
Okay.
They didn't release any water, so it will dissipate with the steam. So I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of oyster sauce. You can't put it over my head, honey. I can't see. Get your camera back. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. So he pours 2 tablespoons in.
I put 2 tablespoons in. You might want more. You might want less. Bring that way down to simmer. And I put some soy sauce. I do the same thing with the soy sauce. Now, you don't use salt with that because the soy sauce will be salty enough. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of soy sauce in that too. If I find I need more, I'll add to it. All right, this will also cook right in with your spoon. Get all that right there. It's all incorporated in good. Looks like I may have to add just a little more. I had a lot of cabbage here. So give it a taste. Maybe about a tablespoon more of each. And you still got to flavor the... Still have to flavor the shrimp in it too, which I'm going to be incorporating into this too. In a couple minutes.
So now with what, 3 tablespoons?
3 of each.
Is what we
Give or
put
take,
in.
depending
What we
on
put in.
your taste buds.
Yeah, do the taste test.
Add that in there like that. Get it all incorporated into the vegetables. Because you don't want to drown it with flavor of oyster sauce and soy sauce, because you want to be able to taste the shrimp and the veggies. But you can see it's changed it to a light brown. Nothing's burned on yet, so that's why you put them on low. All right, now I'm going to add my bean sprouts, my shrimp, and what mushrooms I chopped up. Now these are already in cans, pre-cooked, so I only have to just lightly heat these up with the cabbage. And that way, when I put them in the egg rolls, it's all pre-cooked anyway. So, all right. Turn it up just a little bit, because there was a little bit of water on the shrimp and a little bit on the bean sprouts, so it'll keep it from running on. And I'll give it a taste test. If it looks like it needs a little more seasoning, I'll add to it. But I finally chopped up the shrimp so that when you roll, you see some of the smaller pieces of shrimp in there. Instead of having big, large pieces of shrimp, unless you get salad shrimp, which are very tiny anyways, these were small shrimp, so I chopped them up. So you still have the shrimp in there, but there won't be a big mass inside your egg roll trying to close up the egg rolls.
And we just picked them up at Walmart.
Yeah, they're about $5 a bag for a 12-ounce bag. All right, we'll stop that here until I get it sauteed in, then we'll work with the other stuff.
Okay, guys, we are just having one of those moments. Okay, Dolly, what's going on now?
Well, I'm taking the wraps, which you'll find in a package like that.
Okay, do you need a new knife?
That was my scissors.
Okay.
You want to pull them apart so that they're easier to work with instead of waiting until your hands are all egg wash and stuff. You want to get them pulled apart. Get them put on your plate so that you can pick them up one at a time and do the work with them. Now when you pull them apart, it'll feel kind of thick, and that's because there's two stuck together. They should be really thin feeling. So you can see how they're pulling apart here. And you pull them apart. Have them set in your plate so you can work with them. And you'll get quite a few of these egg roll wraps. There's probably about 40 to a package. So I'm going to get these all pulled apart, and then I'll show you how I'm filling them and rolling them. Okay, so what you do, I've already made one up, you can see. Make sure it's just a single, not a double. That's a single. Put the tray, you put it down where the point is facing you, into a diamond shape, and you take a good amount of your mix. I usually use about a spoon and a half. Pushed into down to the end of your thing here, and you take the wrap, go up over it, and then pull it back towards you so that it's tucked in like that. Then you give it a half turn, take an egg wash. Just take an egg and scramble it up and go right down your top triangle, just like that. You got a piece of cabbage there. Then you take and you fold the first part in, just like you were making an envelope. Turn the second part in. A piece of onion on my finger here. So it looks like that. Then you just continue to roll it. Once you get it rolled up, you put it on your cookie sheet. Now what we're going to do with it on the cookie sheet is once I get them all rolled, or get the cookie sheet filled, I'm going to put them in the freezer for about an hour, and then we'll bag them up for the freezer storage. Point up, tuck it, pull it back, give it a half roll, and egg wash right up the triangle. Fold one corner in, fold your next corner in, so it's just like a little envelope, and you repeat. Roll, roll, roll. And the egg wash will seal the wrap. Just like that. Alright, now I'm going to continue to roll them until we get a tray full, and I'll put them in the freezer. Then once we get some out of the freezer, we'll show you what we're going to just put them in the baggies. Okay, we've got 15 of them rolled, and we still have more wraps and more stuff. But I've got to put this in the freezer and start a new batch. I'll let these go for just about an hour. That will freeze up the contents inside enough to be able to put them in a gallon Ziploc bag, because they'll be IQF, which stands for individually quick frozen. And once we get them in the bags, we can put them in our big freezer, and we'll have them for this winter. We'll do a part 2 on this later on when we cook some down. Okay? These, so much for the shrimp egg rolls. We're pre-making everything, and I hope this helped you and you enjoyed it. This is Popel's Backyard Farm saying, big or small, remember, you too could be a backyard farm.